Another Russia bombshell exploding in the media's face. Here's what MSNBC's Lawrence O'Donnell said about President Trump's finances on his show last night.
This is a single source who has told me that the Deutsche Bank obtained tax returns, which they do have, of Donald Trump's, show that the president pays very little income tax. This single source close to Deutsche Bank has told me that the Donald Trump's loan documents there show that he has co-signers. That's how he was able to obtain those loans, and that the co-signers are Russian oligarchs.
What? Really?
That would explain, it seems to me, every kind word Donald Trump has ever said about Russia and Vladimir Putin, if true. And I stress the if true.
Wow. Rachel Maddow's face, I think, said it all. But after being ridiculed about his flimsy reporting, including by his own co-workers at MSNBC, O'Donnell tweeting, "Last night I made an error in judgment by reporting an item about the president's finances that didn't go through our rigorous verification and standards process. I shouldn't have reported it, and I was wrong to discuss it on the air. I will address the issue on my show tonight." So, Dana, where does this go?
Well, first of all, I don't think people need to watch his show tonight, okay? Because, one, he's already shown that he doesn't care about giving accurate information. I always say this on Twitter, too. If you have to write big if true on something that you're retweeting, like, don't tweet it. Just wait and see if it is actually true.
That's boring.
That this would be, it is boring. And that is why you watch The Five, where we have accurate information. No, I understand that mistakes can happen. You could go to air with something that isn't quite. But he walks all the way up to the line, and he has Rachel Maddow just waiting, like, what? Really? It reminded me when she said she had the president's tax returns, and you sat there for 20 minutes, like, waiting for her to get to the point.
Yeah, we did that for like 2 years. We did that. Yeah.
Right. And also because the Russia story is one that fizzled in April, and they're trying to figure out a way to bring it back. But if you're going to do that, you better be ready. Because now what happens? Now President Trump can turn around and say, here they go again. I told you. And they are proving his point over and over again.
Is it really a mistake? I mean, when you say further and you meant to say farther, is this like a mistake?
It's hard for me to judge because I have never made a mistake. On this show, I think I'm batting 1,000, and yeah, you know, it's really good, and it's the football.
Am I the umpire?
Yes, yes. But you would think that MSNBC would be a little leery of any Russian bombshell story. They just bet everything. They put everything on red for 3 years, and they lost the House. So maybe here's the theory. Maybe he got pranked by, he said a single source. That could have been Trump on the phone with his hand over the mug. Goes, yes, it was Russian oligarchs. Russian oligarchs. Trust me on this, Larry. Trust me. Trust me. It could be that. But I mean, it's you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of that thing on Twitter that used to drive me crazy, the tick, tick, tick.
I hate
remember
that.
Like everybody promising a bombshell. Oh, it's coming up today. Oh, you better watch the news. It's all going to come apart. And it's just viewers must get exhausted being promised bombshell after bombshell. We don't promise bombshells here. We just promise good, healthy, clean fun.
Yeah.
What's your take, Juan?
Well, I'm listening and I'm thinking to myself, it's so interesting. It seems to me we've gone away from gatekeepers in journalism. You know, because social media is like who has it first and who can just make an outrageous statement that gets lots of clicks.
Right.
And this was an outrageous statement. I mean, by his own admission, he really didn't have the story. There's no journalist in America who would say a single source and that you haven't gone to your editors and nobody has vetted this story to say, well, you know, what do we have from other people? Nothing like that. He just makes a statement. So he got it wrong. Now, it's interesting. In saying that he made an error in reporting this, he's not saying that the story's wrong. He's saying he was wrong. And so again, to me, it comes back to social media where people have what I call confirmation bias. In other words, they take stories that they want to be true, and then they say, oh, you know what, I'm going to believe this story, and I'm not going to check it out because that might get in the way of my good feelings, so I'm just going to report it. And to me, that ends up with egg on your face. It's just bad journalism. It's not the way you do it. But I see in this era, with the internet dominating everything, this is the way we're going, and people don't seem to understand. This is a mistake. It's not good.
Well, and that's the point that Trump's attorney made, right, which is basically that when you go off of a single source, it's reckless and it's verifiable. Those records were publicly online. Trump is the only guarantor. So he basically said, look, because it was so reckless and because you ignored any type of verification that was out there in subsequent sources, then this rises to that level of actual malice. And this has other repercussions too, right? Like we know the House Services Financial Committee is investigating, Trump is investigating Deutsche Bank. They are laying off 18,000 workers in the next couple years. They're being federally investigated for other reasons too. So when we start bringing in other entities from these reckless comments and assertions, it's a ripple effect. And so, yes, journalists have to be much more aware and in ownership of what they put out there. It's not just a, oh, my bad, I retract. There's real-world consequences here.
And even if he were to say to us, Emily, you know, he's not a journalist, because I think sometimes opinion people say, I'm not a journalist, this is my opinion. But he didn't present it as his opinion.
Right.
As a journalist, I'm disgusted by what happened.
No, well, listen, how many times have you read a story and there's nobody who's cited in the story?
Yeah.
It's all anonymous sources, a single source. And look, you make a mistake.
The worst thing is the stories that both sides are doing this, by the way. So-and-so is outraged, Sparks outraged, and what they use is tweets. Like they find 3 tweets, and that's the story.
And that's all the outrage.
That's all the outrage, and it's like, and then that generates another story, and then that generates another story, and it's a spiral, and it's like, and you get down to it, and there's nothing there, and what a waste of time and anger and anxiety.
I must say, it's so interesting to me, though, that Donald Trump has his lawyer threaten Lawrence O'Donnell with defamation over this. I mean, how often have you seen a story from Donald Trump and you think, what's the source on that? Where's the evidence of that? And
he's never lied, Juan.
Never.
Never.
Not once. Not once.
He's
Even
directionally true.
No, because you have 1,000 batting average.
Yes.
What's his batting average?
1,020.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's like, you know, when you get A++?
Yeah, like these kids in high school now. Yeah, the kids in high school, they get extra points for
They get a 5.0. You get a 5.0 now.
That's it.
Makes no sense.
Makes no
Sure, Emily got a 5.0.